If you are a beginner, you may have asked yourself, where am I supposed to start? I have tons of videos, and I know there are tons and tons and tons of videos floating around here on YouTube and the internet and all this advice. And you may ask yourself, how do I know where to get started as a beginner? I know there are videos for beginners specifically, so I wanted to contribute to that to let you know what are the most important tips that I can give you today as a beginner. Hi and welcome to today's video. In case you don't know me yet, my name is Freya and I'm a professional singer and vocal coach from Germany. Now, I've worked with beginners quite a lot. I've also worked with advanced and professional singers and musical theater singers and opera singers and bands in all different capacities, in musical theater, in pop, in classical music. And one thing that I have learned over the years as a beginner, in order to get better, the number one thing you want to pay attention to, if you're not really great about this yet, the most important area in your voice that you can work on in order to sound better is better pitch control, better pitch accuracy. We call it intonation. Because let me just demonstrate to you what a big difference it makes whether you're singing nicely on pitch or not. Everything else may be sounding amazing. You have a beautiful voice, your breathing is great, and everything else, great voice color and great support. However, if you're not very accurately hitting the pitches, it all kind of doesn't matter. So, for all those times you stood by me, for all the truth that you made me see, for all the joy that you brought in my life, for all the wrong that you made right, for every dream you made come true, for all the love I've found in you. I'll be forever thankful, baby, and you're the one who held me up. Okay, so that is the non-great intonation version. Now let's do better intonation. For all those times you stood by me, for all the truth that you made me see, for all the joy you brought in my life, for all the wrongs that you made right, for every dream you made come true, for all the love I found in you. Okay, so it makes a big difference. Intonation is so important. And how do you get there? Ear training. And I have videos about pitch accuracy, pitch control, and ear training. You may want to check all those out because it's like a violin player. You know, you can tell when someone's a beginner, not by how they, like the main thing is, are the pitches accurate? So a beginner pianist doesn't sound as horrible as a beginner violinist because on a piano there are set pitches. So a C will always be a C and a G will always be a G. You can't be like a quarter tone above or below. But when you sing or play the violin, you might be just slightly under pitch and you just, you don't have a button in your voice where you can say, okay, now I'm just singing a C 100%. You just kind of have to fine-tune it yourself, and that can be hard. So that is something extremely important to work on. The next thing, and I know these are tips that you may not hear everywhere, but my experience tells me these are the most important things. In addition to just pitch accuracy, try to clean up. So don't be sloppy. In my first example, you heard it was a little sloppy. Not only was I not on pitch, but I always was kind of, the way I was sliding and slurring, I was adding so much stuff that it just is just confusing. It's not really, it's not giving the melody again. For all those times you stood by me, even if I did the right pitches, but for all those times you stood by me, for all the truth that you made me see, for all the joy you brought in my life, for all the wrong that you made right, See how I'm sliding from way below? It's much better to simplify, but to be very accurate about it than to just be all over the place because you think you have to like do all these ad-libs. It's much better to do it simple. For all those times you stood by me. So now I'm not even doing any sliding. It sounds a lot better. For all the truth that you made me see, for all the joy you brought in my life, for all the wrong that you made right, for every dream you made come true, for all the love I found in you. It's very simple, but it sounds a lot better than for all those times you stood by me. Oh, all over the place. And the worst thing is when you sound like you're trying too hard. You know what I mean? Like you're trying really hard. It should never come across like you're trying too hard, because then it's like, that's what everyone perceives as, ooh, how embarrassing is that? I don't know, when you're trying too hard when you're playing piano, I guess it's when you're playing piano, it would be like trying to play a piece that is just way too hard for you and you're not even hitting the right pitches. But for singing, it's like you might be hitting the right pitches, but if you're biting off more than you can chew, that just sounds really bad. So do me a favor, simplify and do it in a really great way. Just do it right and accurately and clean. Simplify instead of making it all complicated and it's just all over the place and it sounds like, okay, you're trying way too hard, not sounding great. The next thing is, and that kind of adds on to this, being aware of your inward and outward airflow. So this goes beyond just breathing technique. It's really being aware. I have this t-shirt and you can buy it. I think the link is below this video here. It just says breathe, sing, repeat. And I made a video about this, like what is the principle of breathe, sing, repeat? And it's because these are the most essential things when it comes to singing. First, there must be air, so you have to breathe. Then you actually sing, meaning you create frequencies and words that come out. Well, and then you repeat that whole thing. You breathe again, then the next phrase, you breathe again and you sing a little bit, and then you breathe again and you sing a little bit. That's kind of the cycle that you go through. So being aware of, that everything rides on your breath, kind of, right? For all those times you stood by me, for all the truth that you made me see. I'm trying to have an even breath flow. Here's what happens when I don't have that. For all those times you stood by me, for all the truth that you made me see, for all the joy you brought into my life, for all the wrong that you made right, for every dream that you made come true, for all the... I'm just trying to exaggerate. Really being aware of how important it is to be intentional with when am I inhaling, and then how am I controlling that air that comes out, that all those pitches ride on. They all sit on that breath that I'm using. Without that breath, the control just isn't here. And by the way, pitch control is going to be a lot harder when you don't have that nice, consistent breath. When you have like, you're just kind of pushing it against your vocal cords, or then you're running out of breath, you're at the end of your breath. That's when you don't have really good support. And the air just comes out like, So the breath is so important, and that's one of the most important things you can ever work on. One more thing that I'm very adamant about is being aware of registers. It does make a big difference. The human voice has different sounds. Not only do you have different voice colors, but basically you have two main big mechanisms that you can use your voice in with. So When we speak in everyday life, especially when we get a little bit louder, it's full chest voice, like la 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 la. Hello, how are you doing today? Oh no, what's happening here? That is full chest voice. We also have another register that nature gave us. If we want to sing, if we want to not just sing, but speak higher, go, oh, no, oh, la 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 la. So that it actually, chest voice would be limiting. Now we have head voice. The vocal cords can lengthen more and more, be thinner, be tighter, and now we can create those higher frequencies. That is awesome. It is also a challenge, and in singing, it's very relevant. If I just used head voice, now in this song it would be hard. For all those times you stood by me, for all the truth that you made me see, for all the joy you brought in my life, for all the wrong that you made right, for every dream you made come true, for all the love I found in you. This does not sound like it should be in a pop song. Especially when it's that low, it sounds a little funny when I'm trying to fully tilted head voice. Now the vocal tilt, that I have videos about that. When you actually go into head voice, there's something that happens with your larynx, so that you can actually create those higher frequencies. It's very, very important to be clear about your registers, and I have videos about that. It's very relevant, and I have met so many singers, not just beginners, people who have taken lessons for years, especially women who have sung in choirs. They were not even clear about oh, really? What do you mean I'm singing in head voice the entire time? If they want to sing a pop song, that just doesn't sound right. And it's you can actually sing in chest voice. Did you know that? And they had no concept because they were never taught. Usually it's because either they sang in choir and the default is head voice because it's just easier. You don't have to transition all the time. You just stay in head voice. The transition between the registers is not easy always. It could be a challenge. For some people it's naturally easier, and for some people it's very hard. It's a very rough break. Usually when you have a heavier voice, it might be a little harder. If you have a lighter voice, it might be a little smoother automatically, just by nature. But make sure you really are clear about your registers. You know what you're singing in. And so what I always suggest is to separate it out in the beginning, to try just to sing in chest voice. And I have videos about that. Just chest voice. So you kind of know beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is my chest voice. And I kind of know where the limit is and where it gets really hard. It's very normal. Your chest voice has an upper limit. And of course, on the lower end, you have a general limit to how low your voice can go. But on the upper end, it's very normal that you have a limit how high your chest voice can go. The less trained you are in singing higher in chest voice, the more quickly you're going to come to your limit. But it's very normal. If you can sing higher and higher and higher and higher, and you feel oh, I must still be in chest voice, then you're probably not. You're not. There's no way. You have it la 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 la. Quite high in my voice already. La, la, la. Now, if I want to go higher than that, I'm going to have to start mixing, which is a whole other topic. I would not even worry about mix in the beginning. La, la. Now, those last few pitches were head voice because I can sing those only in head voice. It's very important to be aware that there is a limit. There's also a lower limit to the head voice. When you go down, it gets really hard to actually sustain those pitches in head voice. So that is normal. You're not weird that you have to start, change registers when you come to a specific place in your range. It's never going away. The break is always going to be there. I have a break in my voice. Everyone does. You just learn to work with it. But in the beginning, I would just try a song that is only in chest voice, and then maybe also try a song that's only in head voice, which usually probably is more in the classical area there, so that you are very clear about what it feels like. And then you can try to combine the two, which is then it might be challenging because, staying in one mode is easier than trying to feel okay, what am I now? and also trying to listen to how does it sound different, even when you listen to your favorite songs. Is this chest voice? Is this head voice? Are they now transitioning back and forth? To start hearing the difference is really important. So those are really my most important tips when it comes to beginners. My experience of more than 20 years of teaching voice and a lifetime of being on stage, working professional in music. These are relevant things because I have come across so many singers who didn't address these things. And then when they become more advanced, they kind of get stuck somewhere because they never addressed these things. So I always say, do it in a simple way, but do it really well. And then you can add the next layer. No one would say, like as a piano student, when you start out, play a really difficult piece to start out with. Because everyone would think like, well, you can't do that, right? You don't have the skills. And it seems like with singing, a lot of people just don't know. It's like, is that too hard for me? So choose something that's a little bit more simple, but do it really well. And then add more difficult things as you go along. Because the thing with your voice is, on the piano, you can't really hurt the piano too much, but your voice is very delicate and you don't want to hurt it. So potentially you create damage or strain when you do things that are just way beyond what you're actually capable of doing. All right, thank you so much for watching today. If you want to dive deeper and really make sure you are brushing up on your technique, that you're not getting into bad habits, check out all my free resources on my website, masteryourvoice.tv, or you can check out my signature course, Back to the Basics, where I have in-depth explanations plus practical exercises about all the things, all the elements that you need for great singing. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Until next time, always keep a song in your heart and always keep on singing.